Mr. Speaker, I rise today to advise honorable members of the completion of the audit of the Consolidated Fund financial statements for the year ended March 31st, 2024, which were tabled in this honorable House today. As honorable members are aware, the Consolidated Fund, CF, is the general operating fund of the Bermuda government, and is a fund through which government conducts the majority of its transactions. The CF financial statements report the financial position, operations, change in net debt, and cash flows resulting from the activities of the government. This includes the accounts of the Senate, the House of Assembly, all government departments and offices, and all courts. Mr. Speaker, in her report, the Auditor General highlighted that with the exception of one matter that I will address later, the statements were deemed to be fairly reflect the financial position and operations of the CF. This positive endorsement is almost all areas of work in relation to the financial statement is a testament to efficacy of our financial processes and operations and the hard work of our teams to ensure that financial integrity is upheld. Mr. Speaker, the Auditor General has qualified her audit opinion based on insufficient support for the legal obligations associated with the eventual retirement of tangible capital assets as required by the Asset Retirement Obligation Standard. Mr. Speaker, the government has undertaken considerable work since the introduction of this standard in 2022-2023 fiscal year, using its team of internal professionals along with engagement of external experts, resulting in the government's recognizing a liability. So the government did recognize the liability and the related expenses in the March 31st, 2024 financial statements. The March 2023 comparative have been restated to show the effect of the adoption of the standard. The government will continue to work to identify all legal obligations associated with the retirement or disposal of its assets to ensure the completeness of the obligations recorded in the CF financial statements. Mr. Speaker, on the Audit Act 1990, Section 6(1)(b), the Auditor General is able to include in her report any comments she considers appropriate. Accordingly, the Auditor General has, as in prior years, and that's all prior years, included an emphasis of matter paragraph to draw attention to the usefulness of the financial statements, and her view that the usefulness of the financial statement is limited because they are not summary financial statements. In other words, they do not represent the combined financial position and activities of all government entities, only the Consolidated Fund. This section of the report does not alter the Auditor General's opinion on whether the financial statements are presented fairly. The other information section is inclusive of the financial statement, discussion and analysis which is included with the audited financial statements. The audit report date is December 24th, 2024. Mr. Speaker, liabilities related to pensions and other employee future benefits are included in the net debt amount disclosed in the financial statements, and the government has already started the review of these benefits to ensure their sustainability. Mr. Speaker, financial highlights of the CF financial statements are as follows: that all inclusive result from both current and capital on an accounting accrual basis for the year ending March 31st, 2024, was a deficit of $161.5 million, lower than the prior year's deficit of $270.5 million. The modified cash all-inclusive results from government operation on the same basis that is shown in the budget book was a deficit of $29.4 million. This compares to a deficit of $43.3 million that was originally budgeted. Therefore, the actual overall deficit was down by $14.1 million when compared to the original estimate. The decreased deficit is primarily as a result of higher than budgeted revenues. This deficit reduction is part of the government's medium-term expenditure framework strategy to achieve a balanced budget. The total revenue raised by the CF for fiscal year 23-24 was approximately $1.18 billion. representing an increase of $45.6 million, 4% from fiscal 22-23 total revenue of $1.13 billion. This exceeded original budget estimates by approximately $21.8 million, or 1.8%. The most significant generators of revenue for fiscal 23-24 were payroll tax, accounting for $534 million, or 45.5% of total revenue. 22-23 was $488.1 million, or 43.2%. And customs duty accounting for $227.6 million, or 19.3%. In 22-23, customs duty was $225.1 million, or 19.9%. Current expenses for fiscal year 23-24 was $1.28 billion, compared to 22-23 of $1.36 billion. The three largest components of current expenses were employee costs, grants and contributions, and interest on debt. Total employee costs were $584.7 million, or 45.6%, compared to 22-23, which was $622.6 million, or 45.7% of total expenses. Grants and contributions were $337.9 million, or 26.4%, compared to in 22-23 budget $329 million, or 24.2%. And interest on debt was $129.2 million, compared to 22-23 budget of $136.5. Total current expenditure on a modified cash basis was $1.1 billion. In 22-23, also $1.1 billion, which was $6 million. In 22-23, it was $22.8 million more than original budgeted estimates. The March 31st, 2024 total accounts receivable net of provision of doubtful accounts increased by 18% to $265.2 million as compared to $224.8 million at March 31st, 2023. The most significant contributor to the accounts receivable balance before provision was the Office of the Tax Commissioner of $376.1 million, representing approximately $41.4 million increase. This was in 2023. A significant portion of the gross receivable at March 31st, 24 was $242.2 million, representing payroll tax, which was due and payable on April 15th, 2024. During the month of April 2024, the government collected $170.5 million in payroll taxes. In April, in comparison, 2023 was $144.7 million. Interest-bearing debt, net of sinking fund, is increased by $129.6 million to $3.2 billion in 2024 from $3.1 billion in 2023. This was mainly due to the withdrawal of $79.4 million from the excess borrowing fund for payroll funding and interest payments, and the $50 million of the 23 Bermuda dollar senior notes, which was matured on December 2023. Mr. Speaker, in closing, I would like to express my sincere appreciation to the Auditor General and her team, the persons in the Accountant General's Department, and persons in other ministries who were involved in progressing the audit. In 23-24, fiscal result is indicative of the government's ability to prudently manage discretionary, current, and capital expenditure. Further, I will note that the statements of the consolidated funds provide valuable information on the financial position of the government, and I will encourage the public to examine these statements. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.